Hello, you're welcome once again to BECE Mastery, where real life lessons meet exam excellence. In this video, we are looking at Basic Education Certificate Examination BECE 2023, Paper 2, question number 4. So, with question number 4, we have two parts, that is question 4A and question 4B. Now, let's look at question 4A. If 4m minus 2 into bracket 3 plus 2m plus m into bracket 2m plus 4 is equals to 0. We want to find the values of m. The values of m. The values of m. Okay, so this is expansion and simplification. So what we'll do, we start with our 4m minus, now these two multiply whatever is inside the bracket, so you're going to have 6 negative 2m. Okay, negative 2 times positive 2m will give us negative 4m. Then we come to this part, this multiplies this, at the same time multiplies that, and so you're going to have 2m squared plus 4m. Okay, everything is equal to 0. So we now simplify. We have 4m here minus 4m here. That will give us 0, right? Then we have 2m here. Okay, so 2m squared. Then this is left as plus 4m. Then this also left as minus 6. There is m here. And everything is equal to 0. All right, so we have quadratic equation here, but I can see that 2 can divide through, and so when I divide everything by 2, here by 2, here by 2, here by 2, I could get m squared plus 2m minus 3 is equal to 0. Now we are going to solve this equation or quadratic equation, and we know we can use factorization method and all other methods that we know, but this is a very simple quadratic equation, so we can use factorization method. In doing so, what we do is that we pick the coefficient of the m squared and multiply that by negative 3, and that is going to be negative 3. Now we find two numbers. When we multiply, we'll get negative 3, but when we add, we'll get a coefficient of the m. And these two numbers can be 1 and 3. But then, if I multiply 1 and 3, I will not get negative. So it means either 1 should be negative or 3 should be negative. So that one of them being negative, the answer will be negative 3. But then I have to consider the number over here to see whether I will negate the 1 or negate the 3. And because this is positive, I will negate the 1, so that when I add 1 and 3, I get positive 2. Now that I know this, I'm going to replace this to 2m. So now my equation now going to be, so I have my 2m, m squared minus m plus 3m minus 3 is equal to 0. So you can see clearly that this portion of the work has replaced the 2m. Of course, negative m plus 3m will give you 2m. Now we have 4 terms we are going to factorize. And so for the first term, okay, I'll factor m out. For the first 2 terms, I'll factor m out. Then I have m minus 1. Then the second term, I'll factor plus 3 out. Then I have m again minus 1. Everything is equal to 0. Now I have 2 terms here, this term and that term, and there's a common factor, and the common factor is going to be m minus 1. So I bring it out, then I have m plus 3 equals 0. Here I have 2 terms, sorry, I have 2 numbers that when I multiply I get 0. And anytime you multiply two numbers to get 0, then one of them must be 0. So either this is 0 or that is 0. So if it is m minus 1, that is equal to 0, then what is the value of m here? And that is 1. And if it is m plus 3, that is equal to 0, what is the value of m? That will give us negative 3. And so to find the values of m will be such that m is equal to either positive 1, comma, negative 3. And that is the values of that. Then the second part of the question, we have at a political rally, there are 240 women, 200 men, 160 boys, 120 girls, okay, who attended the political rally. We are to draw a pie chart to illustrate the information and then answer the question, what percentage of people at the rally were females? Okay, so now I put this question or this whole question into a table form. I have my people who attended the rally, that is the women, the men, the boys, and the girls. The women in attendance were 240, the men in attendance 200, boys 160, and girls 120. So I'm going to find the sectorial angle, and as usual, we first have to add all the numbers here, that is the frequency or the number of attendance. And if I add 240 plus 200, that will be 440 plus 160, that will be 600 plus 120, so that will give us 720. And so to find the angle or the sectorial angle for each of the components, we'll pick, for example, for women, we have 240, okay, divided by the total 720. We multiply by 360 being the sectorial angle, because angle in a circle must add up to 360. So a simple cancellation here, okay, will give us the answer to be 120. Again, to find the angle for the men, we have the 200 and then divide by the total times 360. And with our simple cancellation again, you realize your answer will be 100. Do the same thing for the boys. The boys, we have 160 divided by 720 times 360. Again, with our simple cancellation, our result will be 80. And finally, for that of girls, which is 120 divided by 720 times 360, will give us the answer to be 60. Now we are done with that. So we are now going to draw our pie chart. Okay, and so our pie chart, we need to draw a circle, and then we make a first reference line. The first reference line is going to help us to use our protractor to measure the angle 120. And I'm sure you know how to use protractor to measure angles. If you don't know, search through this particular channel. You see number of videos for the textbook, that is New Focus Approach Mathematics, and then you can locate a lesson on that. Okay, so we'll measure 120. Okay, so these are 120. Then we write women over there. Okay, so then we can also put our 120 here. Then we use this particular line as our reference line and measure the angle 100, and that also we put 100 over there, and that represents men. Then we use this line as a reference line. Then we measure the angle 80, and that represents boys. Then finally this angle automatically give us 60, and that represents our girls. So we are done with our pie chart, and this is how we represent pie chart, information on the pie chart. Our next question says that what percentage of people at the rally were females? And to know the females, we are looking at all women, okay, all women, and all girls put together will give us the number of females. And if we can use two methods in solving this. Either we use their total number, okay, or we can use their sectorial angles. Let's try the two. So I know women are 240 and the girls are 120. Okay, and so when we put them together, we are going to have 360. So this 360 divided by the total number here, which is 720, times 100, because we want the percentage, right? Now with a simple cancellation here, we know 360 can divide 72 as 2, okay, because 360 times 2 give us 72. And so while this one divides here 1 and divides here 2, 2 can also divide itself and divide here as 50. And so our answer becomes 50%. So 50% of females attended the rally. That is one option. Alternatively, we can also say that if you're using the angle, we have 120 for the women and then we have 60 for the girls. Put together, we have 180. So 180 divided by the total angle, which is 360, times 100. And once again, you can see that 180 can divide itself 1 and divide here as 2. And 2 can divide itself here and divide here as 50. And so our answer once again becomes 50%. Right. I'm sure this video has really helped you to revise your knowledge on pie charts and how to use pie chart to answer questions. And again, we've also revised our knowledge on algebraic expansion and simplification, and then also how to solve quadratic equation. Thanks so much for watching.